You have dreamed about failing a test for a class you never took, and you have absolutely no idea why. Or you tried to run from something terrifying and your legs just stopped working, like you were sprinting through a pool of syrup. Your brain did that on purpose. Kind of. Here is the thing about dreams. Most people assume they are just random nonsense your brain spits out when you're bored. And yeah, on the surface, they look like complete chaos. But underneath all of that weirdness, there are actual mechanical reasons your brain is glitching out in exactly the way it is. And some of them are so specific and so bizarre that once you hear them, you will never look at your dreams the same way again. So in this video, we are going to break down the most ridiculous, most inexplicable dream experiences you have had and explain exactly what is actually happening. We are covering 10 of them, and I will tell you right now, the last one might be the most unsettling thing your brain does, and almost nobody realizes it is happening to them. Let's start with one that is genuinely kind of creepy once you think about it. Your brain has a delay, a serious one. If something wild happened to you last Tuesday, a weird interaction, a moment of low-key anxiety, something that felt a little off, your brain probably did not process it that night. Sleep researchers found a pattern called the dream lag effect, where experiences from your life tend to show up in dreams either the next night or exactly 7 days later. So if you dream about a giant crab wearing your boss's hat on a Sunday, it has nothing to do with what you ate for dinner. Your brain just finally got around to processing something that mildly stressed you out almost a week ago. It is basically running a software update that is 7 days behind schedule every single night. And here is where it gets weirder. Your brain is not just slow, it is doing this processing on a level you are not even consciously connected to. Harvard sleep researcher Robert Stickgold ran a study where he had people play Tetris for several hours over a few days. The group included 5 amnesiacs who had no short-term memory due to lesions in the hippocampus. These people could not remember meeting the researchers. They could not remember playing the game. And yet, when they fell asleep, they still saw the computer game's falling blocks in their first hour of sleep. One of the amnesiacs described seeing images that are turned on their side. I don't know what they are from. Their conscious mind had zero record of Tetris existing. Their sleeping brain was running Tetris anyway. Your brain learns patterns on a deep, primitive level without ever telling your conscious mind about it. Even if you lose your memory completely, it will still force you to sort falling blocks in your sleep. So your brain is processing things you do not even remember experiencing. Now here is the question I want you to sit with for a second. If your brain is doing all of this without your awareness, what else is it doing that you have no idea about? Hold on to that, we are going to come back to it. But first, let's talk about why your dreams look the way they do. Specifically, why you can never read anything in a dream. You look at a clock, it says 12:30. You look away, you look back, it says 74.99. You look at a sign and the letters are just shapes. You try to read a text message and the words rearrange themselves mid-sentence. This is not symbolic. This is not your subconscious being poetic. This is a hardware failure. Reading requires specific language processing regions of your brain, areas that are essentially switched off during REM sleep. So checking a clock in a dream is like loading a video game where the textures have not rendered yet. Every single time you look at text, your brain is generating new placeholder garbage because the actual text engine is completely offline. The numbers on that clock are not telling you anything. They are not even numbers. They are your brain's best guess at what numbers look like when it cannot actually make numbers. And that same hardware failure explains why your punches feel like wet noodles. When you are in REM sleep, your brain sends motor signals, real ones, down to your muscles. It is genuinely trying to make your body move. But your body has a built-in safety mechanism called muscle atonia, which is basically full body paralysis that kicks in during REM to stop you from physically acting out your dreams. So, your brain fires the signal to throw a superhero punch. Your muscles receive exactly zero physical resistance back, and your brain interprets that as the punch did nothing, ultra slow, zero impact. That is why running in dreams feels like moving through wet concrete. Your brain is not getting any feedback from your legs, so it assumes the movement is barely happening. You are not weak in the dream. You are just completely disconnected from your own body. And here is something that sounds like it should not be real, but absolutely is. Your dreams have no smell. Think about every dream you have ever had. Can you remember smelling anything? Almost certainly not, and that is not a coincidence. The olfactory system is wired differently from your other senses. It bypasses the thalamus, which is the brain's main sensory relay center. That means smell is almost entirely left out of the REM dream creation process. So you can dream about being in a bakery, and your brain will just inform you that it smells like bread. It will not actually render the smell. It is pure text-based context dressed up as a sensory experience. Your brain is essentially writing stage directions and calling it a full production. But pain, that one is a little different and honestly a little funny. It was believed for a long time that you could not feel pain in dreams. Turns out that is not quite right. You can feel it, but your brain almost never invents original pain. What it actually does is take a real physical sensation happening to your body, a cramp, a numb arm, your foot falling asleep against the bed frame, and builds an entire dream narrative around it to explain the sensation. So if a dragon stabs you in a dream, you are not feeling dragon magic. Your brain just had no idea why your left foot was tingling, so it hired a dragon to justify it. Your subconscious is essentially a screenwriter who works backwards from the special effects budget. Now, remember that question I asked you to hold on to? About what else your brain is doing without your awareness? Here is one that might actually mess with you. Your brain can simulate waking up, fully. You open your eyes, you sit up, you go through your entire morning routine, brush your teeth, get dressed, walk to the door, and then you realize you are still asleep. That is called a false awakening. And in severe cases, it does not happen once, it loops. People have reported waking up inside a dream 5, 6, 7 times in a row, doing their morning routine each time only to discover they are still in the dream. The technical term for the nested version is a nested awakening. The technical term I would use is a cosmic prank. Your brain runs your entire 20-minute morning routine, gets you emotionally prepared for the day, and then hits undo and puts you right back in bed, late. And now you have to do it for real. And while we are on the subject of your brain messing with its own rendering, experienced lucid dreamers run into this one constantly. The moment you realize you are in a dream and try to interact with fine details, look closely at a wall, count grains of sand, read something, the dream destabilizes, it dissolves, it crashes into blackness and kicks you awake. Your brain's ability to generate a dream world in real time has a frame rate limit. The second you demand 4K detail, it runs out of processing power, panics, and boots you back to the loading screen. Your subconscious is running a graphics engine, and it simply cannot keep up when you start asking too much of it. Now here is one that genuinely changes how you think about all of this, and this is the one I told you to wait for. For most of human history, people dreamed in full color, and then, between roughly the 1910s and the 1950s, the vast majority of people started reporting that their dreams were almost entirely black and white. And then, when color television was introduced in the late 1950s and 1960s, full-color dreams came back. The leading explanation is that the dominant visual medium of the era, black and white film and television, literally rewired the default rendering mode of the human subconscious for half a century. The media people consumed most changed what their brains generated when they were unconscious. which means your great-grandparents were running from monsters in crisp 1940s grayscale. And it means whatever you are consuming most right now is actively shaping what your sleeping brain decides to render. That is not a metaphor, that is just what your brain does. And one more, because this one proves that the movie screen your brain uses for dreams is completely optional. People who are born blind do not dream in visual images, but their dreams are not empty. They are described as wildly intense, packed with hyper-detailed sound, texture, temperature, spatial awareness, the feeling of movement. Your brain does not need visuals to build a terrifying or beautiful or completely unhinged dream. It can construct the whole experience using just sound and touch, and the sensation of cold soup on your hands. The movie screen is just one option. The nightmare is the point. So to recap, your dreams are delayed by a week, built from memories you do not consciously have, rendered without smell, powered by a broken text engine, physically limited by your own paralysis, occasionally looped back on themselves, and for about 50 years were running in black and white because of television. Your brain is not creating random chaos when you sleep. It is running a deeply complex, deeply flawed simulation, and the glitches are the most honest thing it ever shows you. If you have had a dream that genuinely confused or disturbed you, drop it in the comments. I read all of them, and honestly, some of the ones people have shared are more unhinged than anything on this list. And if you want to keep going down this rabbit hole, the next video is right there. It goes into why some people remember every dream they have ever had while others remember almost nothing. And the answer is not what you think.